All right, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the final morning briefing of the week. And it's a trophy weekend, Tony. If that is such a thing, we're making it a thing. We get it every year, but we should never grow tired of celebrating Celtic success. And that's what tomorrow's all about, Tony. Can't wait for it.
Oh, it's the culmination of a long season, a good season. Hopefully, it gets even better the following week. But Trophy Day is just one of those days in the calendar where, it's become a regular occurrence and an unprecedented era of success for Celtic. But you never take it for granted. But tomorrow the sun's going to be splitting the trees, and it will be one of those days where, if you're a Celtic supporter, you enjoy it to the full. We spoke about it on Monday, didn't we? And I never tire of it. And it's just, I love seeing that, as I said, at the end, where all the families, the kids come on and they run about Celtic Park. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Yeah. Can't wait for it. Okay, we're going to chat a bit about that today. Obviously, looking ahead to tomorrow's game. There is a match of football on as well, Tony, that often gets forgotten about amid all the post-match celebrations and potentially, not potentially, Hamish, definitely post-match celebrations in terms of the Celtic support, both at Celtic Park and elsewhere. And there's been a bit of chat about that we can touch on. Just before we do that, a quick word from our sponsor. This Celtic Way video is brought to you by S1 Jobs. If it's time to hand in your transfer request, then head over to s1jobs.com and upload your CV today. With thousands of jobs across Glasgow, Edinburgh and the surrounding area, you'll find the one at S1 Jobs. Start your search today. We also have this Martin O'Neill offer still going. Tony, people can get involved with the site, 6 months of access for £1 and lunch with Martin O'Neill, potentially.
You can't beat that, can you? You've got until June the 1st, open to existing subscribers and new subscribers. Get yourself in the draw for that. A lunch date with Martin O'Neill. Very jealous. I've said before, I'd love to do it myself, but there you go. We're banned from entering, sadly, but yeah, he'd be absolutely brilliant company. You might struggle to get a word in, but to be honest, he's worth listening to. So, fantastic prize, magic.
Big breaking news from Celtic. They're just tweeting about Dyson Maeda. We're talking about a new contract for Dyson Maeda. He's won the Scottish Premiership Player of the Season, so that's good. Did I get any of you there? That was horrible for me, wasn't it? Getting you into there being a big news. Yes, Dyson Maeda has been named Scottish Premiership Player of the Season, and Celtic tweeted that just to say congratulations, Dyson. I feel terrible for doing that, but that's good news, Tony, isn't it?
Does it surprise you that he's what he has been, pardon the pun, the runaway Player of the Year, hasn't he? For a while, people thought it might be Nicholas Kuhn, but Dyson really stepped up to the plate when Kyogo Furuhashi left the club. And we've spoken about not so much the amount of goals, but the different kinds of goals that he scored this season. And a very worthy winner and very worthy recipient of that award, Hamish, and it'll be very popular as well. He's just a popular guy, isn't he? And you can't look at Dyson Maeda in a photo situation and not smile, because you just know he's going to
doing it right now.
He's very happy. The words "I am very happy" are going to leave his lips at some point, aren't they? So, yeah, brilliant. Well done to him.
So he's won a number of awards now, as we all expected, and rightly so. Whether he plays tomorrow, I guess we'll get an indication of that from the manager later today. So what, Dyson, Rayo and CCV are probably the three that we're really wanting to find out ahead of tomorrow's game. Do you think it'll be full strength team tomorrow of the players that are available?
I'd be, see if you're wise, I just don't think you play Dyson, CCV. Yeah. I'm assuming Rio's going to be out, because I thought that was particularly nasty. I thought Aberdeen the other night were, choose my words carefully, I'll say agricultural, but I think we all know what agricultural means in inverted commas. And that one right at the end on Rio Hatate, for me, that's a shocker. That's a red card. He came right through him, and he knows what he's doing. And so I'm just disappointed. He gave a red card, didn't he, for that? Yeah, I'm saying it was a red card. But I just think it's appalling,
Gay got away with it. Gay wasn't punished. It was the defender, wasn't it, who was red carded for the the second yellow.
So for me, that was a red card by Gay. Of course it was. I just, it's the last minute of the game, isn't it? You're 5-1. There is no need. And if you're looking on that, I don't think players go out to deliberately injure players for say, but that looked pretty premeditated to me, just going right through him. Neil Hattati he's been excellent for Celtic the past while. And if he's ruled the cup final because of that, then it does make you wonder, I have to say.
Yeah, we're hoping to be all right. I agree with your original point, though. I mean, there really is no need to risk anyone tomorrow. I mean, you talk about Wednesday night as being a meaningless game against Aberdeen, and all the changes were made. Tomorrow, in terms of the match itself, has the same consequences. I always think Trophy Day matters a wee bit more in that you don't want to have a mood killer. Not that the celebrations, not that everyone would go home after a defeat to St Mirren tomorrow and wouldn't stay for the trophy lift or anything like that. But remember years ago, like, going a bit off topic here, but under like Gordon Strachan, we used to have terrible mood killers in these trophy days. I remember a number of games. I think there's one Aberdeen beat us, Hearts beat us, and you would then lift the trophy and you still celebrated it, but losing was a bit of a pain. And recently we've been very good at these trophy days. I mean, I think I need to go back. Tomorrow will be what, the 13th or 13th we've had over the last like 15 odd years, and we've probably won virtually all of them. Would that be right?
I can't remember losing. To be honest, off the top of my head, I don't remember. But
Aberdeen beat us in 2018, didn't they?
Was that Aberdeen finished second?
Yeah, we allowed them to finish second.
yeah, there was all that talk, wasn't there? Yeah, but I mean, I think you build them momentum. And I thought the other night, I thought Celtic were excellent the other night. I thought they went about their job with diligence, creativity, and at times they were playing. It was supposed to be a dead rubber, but there was some exhibition stuff that they played. To be honest, some champion football, and that's what I want to see from Celtic, from a team who. At that stage of the season, you understand why he played that team, but those guys were on that park, and if they had a point to prove, they certainly proved it. I mean, loved what Yang brought. Forrest was excellent. Johnny Kenny, will score goals for Celtic. Luke McCowan just loving life, isn't he? Terrific as well. Bernardo, excellent too. So, and Mike Nawrowski, everybody having their say on him, and he's been brilliant when Celtic have turned to him and said, "Look, in you go." So and for a so-called meaningless game and a dead rubber, I really thought Celtic were professional and clinical, and well done to them for that, and put on a show for the travel and support that went to Aberdeen or travelled up to Aberdeen on a Wednesday night. Set ultimate game of the season. So I was really, really happy with what Celtic produced, and I'd love to see that again on Saturday. I think lots of the fans would like to see the same players given that opportunity, to turn it on again like that if they can.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a bit sidetracked with the point I was making. The point I was making is that trophy day, for whatever reason, with you wanting to get a big result and not have a mood killer, it tends to be that the kind of main team comes in, even if you've got a Scottish Cup final in a week's time. And I think Brendan Rodgers has been quite clear in what he's doing here, and he's had a couple of sly kind of underhand pops at the media, I think, for not quite getting what he's saying. I think he finds it a bit frustrating at times when he says things and then is asked about them again, or people read things in. And there's been a few in recent weeks, and the kind of recent one is this squad plan that he's had, and he was very clear after the derby, wasn't it, about what was going to happen in the coming weeks, and to be honest, everything he said's kind of played out. Like I think we were all expecting a bit more rotation for the Hibs game last week, but he clearly was looking at the Aberdeen game, with that being one of 2 or 3 matches we had in the space of 7 days. He was always viewing that as being the game for real rotation. And I think we'll go back to pretty much full strength tomorrow. Obviously, that means you run the risk of injuries, but I mean, players can get injured in training as well. And I guess the positives of giving the full team a run out for next week is they can really get going again and can be sharp sharp as possible. And also, I think confidence is huge going into this final. And like I made the point to John yesterday, I think Celtic right now we're playing the best we have all season. When you look at the goals we're scoring, I mean, we spoke a lot about the slump the team had for a number of months, but God, since that St Johnstone game, they've fair up their game, and we're playing, brilliantly right now.
Yeah, and they're scoring goals at will, aren't they? And the other night proved that too. He probably will go stronger, Hamish. But he did make a point of saying that when he was rotating the team in mind, it was the Aberdeen game, because you see everybody thought he was going to do it against Hibs, and then he went back and said, I clearly stated that it would be the Aberdeen game. So I think you'll see something approximating the 11 that will play in the Scottish Cup final, because you do want that momentum. But I don't want to take any risk with anybody who is, the ones that you named. You just don't risk them at all. So by the nature of that, then there's going to be at least 3 in the team that might not start in the cup final, but that's human nature. That's the right thing to do, because Rio Hattati's injury the other night has shown you that's how easy it can happen in a supposed dead rubber in a game that means nothing, and you're killing time. That kind of thing. You're just you're waiting for the final whistle to go, and Rio Hattati comes off in the end of a shocker. So to me, you just don't take any unnecessary risk with players that are in that bracket. Again, you say players can get injured at training, they can get injured in football matches. I get that. But, and tomorrow, it's the game gets in the way of the kind of celebration, doesn't it? That's the thing. But you have to play the game. And Brendan Rodgers, as always, will want to finish the league campaign with a win. So he'll be telling the players, there'll be enough time to celebrate after. Go to work. He always says that that's their place of work, isn't it? The football pitch. So go to work tomorrow, Celtic, and get the job done. Finish the season with a flourish, and then everybody can have their moment.
Yeah, it's as I say, the team have been really good at that in these trophy days. I mean, I take your point. It sometimes feels like the match can get in the way, but I think the team have been really good at allowing the trophy day matches to become part of the afternoon. And some of the performances we've had in these matches, I remember we battered Motherwell 6-0 a number of years ago, and even last season, St Mirren again, wasn't it? And I think that was 3-2, and that was a really good game. So I'm looking forward to the game. I think Celtic are going to score a number of goals tomorrow as well. I just think we'll really fancy it. I should say, everyone, by the way, if you feel like I've not been acknowledging you, apologies. It's not deliberate. We both can't see the comments today. We've got someone working hard in the background dealing with the comments. So if any of interest come up, we'll stick them on screen and we can discuss. But just in case you feel we're ignoring you ever so slightly, I've not even said morning to them, Tony, which is an utter disgrace on the title winning weekend. But tell us about Luke McCowan, because he's been speaking about swimming and not sinking, and some great quotes there.
Yeah, he's just fantastic value, Luke McCowan. And whenever he's been asked to step into that Celtic team, he's been excellent. Do you know what I loved about his goal the other night? See the temptation to hit that first time?
Yeah.
When he just checks, and the players just sold the ultimate dummy, and he just makes it easy on himself. But he's doing that in the blinking of an eye. So how many times would somebody have skied that, hit the defender with it because he came sliding right in? Presence of mind, and just everything that he did was fantastic the other night. But just loves it, and he just understands when he comes in to give you something. He never leaves you empty-handed, And the quotes about swimming and all that, it's absolutely brilliant. He's got likability, Hamish.
He does.
See, when you have likability, you can do no wrong. And I've said this before, that boy's done the hard yards. So every Celtic supporter, to a man, woman and child, is wishing that boy every success in the world. It's come a bit later in his career, but it doesn't matter when it comes, as long as it comes along. And he's so grateful, and he's so humble, and he's very humorous. And all these boxes that are ticked whenever he sits down in front of the media and asks questions, because he is He is there. He's there in merit. He's there because I've said before, he's there in merit because he's a fantastic footballer. He's not just some fan that got lucky, because he's did as I say, he's did his apprenticeship in football, and it's guys like that you wish every success in their careers. And this boy's just loving life, and he's at Celtic at a wonderful time in his career. They're dominant club in Scottish football. They're playing in Europe, and he's playing a big part in that squad this season. And can't believe he's under a manager like Brendan Rodgers as well, and will only get better. So I love everything about Luke McCowan. Just somebody who, as I say, I wish every success in the world to.
You're right. He's like so likable, and I feel like the thing I love about him is you know exactly what Luke McCowan's like. He's a cheeky chappy. He'll be a great person to be around at Lennoxtown, whether you're a player, staff member. But when he does his kind of media briefings, and he's been put out a fair bit in front of the media since he signed, and with good reason. But he's not as polished as a lot of other players. But this is a good thing I'm saying. But you get a number of players, and guys, Arnie Engels is just extremely polished in the media. He comes across well. He says the right thing. You don't necessarily get more than you need with him. Maybe sometimes you just want a wee bit more, but he's obviously been given good media training in Belgium or Germany or wherever. Nicholas Kuhn's kind of similar. Guys like Callum McGregor have obviously, you feel like these guys have come up through major clubs and been given all of this stuff and know how to act. You get the feeling with Luke McCowan that he's coming into Celtic and he's just going to kind of speak how he feels, but he never does it in like a rude way or a dismissive way, or he never digs out other players or other teams. He comes across a really nice guy, but there's like a raw part to the way he speaks, and I find that quite infectious. Like if you ask me what players do I look forward to hearing from the most, I think Alistair Johnson is one, because he's kind of a bit similar. He could just chat forever, and Luke McCowan as well. Like I always look forward to a Luke McCowan press conference, because he tells you wee things and he gives you wee answers that are just a bit different to other people.
Because he's a different kind of footballer, isn't he? It's the same with Matt O'Reilly. Matt O'Reilly was interesting to listen to, because he's like mindset and stuff like that. Alistair Johnson's the same, and Luke's the same in a different kind of way, isn't he? He's just he's his own personality, and he's going to show you that, and he's going to maybe somebody will take him aside one day and say, "Look, you say too much," but don't. Yeah, that's what you'd hate to see, and you would notice that change if that comes along, and that happens to him if he becomes, as you say, more polished. I love the rough edges about Luke McCowan, if you want to call them rough edges, because I don't see that as a slight or a criticism at all. This is a boy that sits down and he's just himself. There is no guardedness. There is no, he's pretty much an open book, and humour with it too. Clearly doesn't take himself that serious, but takes his job serious. But letting everybody know, I'm having the time of my life here, because I'm doing what I feel I was born to do. I'm playing for my boyhood idols. How can you not enjoy that? And see when that comes across with a player that turns around and every time he sits in front of the media is saying, guys, you might enjoy your job, but you're not enjoying it half as much as me, because I love this, and I'm going to tell you how much I love this, because I'm just me. This is my personality. Shoot, ask me what you want, and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. And there's no kind of, we'll take it one game at a time. I just hit the ball and it went into the back of the net stuff. He'll tell you stuff, just because it's just the way he is. And again, going back to that makes him who he is, and that makes him so likeable. And I think he's relatable, Hamish, more than anybody in that football team. He's relatable, isn't he? Because he is like you and I. He's the guy who's not watching the team and then being fortunate enough to be a very good footballer, and by the circuitous route has eventually got life's rewards that you would want to bestow on someone like that. So he's the most relatable player in that dressing room, I think, and he's hell-bent and shown you that too, because he's more or less saying, I'm one of you guys. I'm representing you when I'm out there, and I'm loving it. And I'm glad that you're loving the fact that I'm doing what I do. So thank you. And magic, fair play to them. Love it.
Definitely. Okay, moving it on to tomorrow afternoon. Once again, after Trophy Day at Celtic Park for the fourth season in a row, there will be another party going on in the city centre, the Trongate, Merchant City areas of Glasgow, or area of Glasgow. As John said yesterday, the call has been put out to the Celtic support. I've seen kind of mixed feelings about that. A lot of people really looking forward to it. Other people feel that that's maybe run its course. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. There has been a statement, I think, yesterday from Glasgow City Council, quite forthright as well, asking fans to please avoid disruptive mass gatherings at Merchant City and Trongate and other public places. They say that these events and others have consistently led to disorder, caused significant disruption to the local community and businesses, damage to buildings and infrastructure as well. So they're asking fans to respect the city and neighbours, do not attend unsafe and disruptive gatherings in public places like Merchant City. I mean, that's going to fall on deaf ears. People are still going to, party in Merchant City. And I think I've been a couple of years when I was back in Scotland, and I really enjoyed both years. I think it's amazing to celebrate. There's obviously been trouble, which I think is regrettable. I would say that, when you've got thousands of people in a small space, all drinking a fair amount of alcohol, you're probably always going to have some sort of trouble, and there's trouble at gigs every year, not nearly as much is made of it. Stuff like Transmit, that much more is made when it comes to football. But regardless, I think the point here, what I have a chat about, and you can get involved with your comments as well, should Celtic have something in place here? Like, this is the fourth year in a row that we're talking about this, and I just sense as time goes on, it's becoming a more negative story. When it first came around, I thought it was a real positive. Celtic fans celebrating the success of our team in Glasgow, and I just feel that maybe not for Celtic fans, but for everyone else, it's becoming a bit of a negative thing. So is there any way Celtic in future, and I realise there might be real difficulties with this, and there probably are, and that's probably the reason we've not seen this, but could Celtic get an official sanctioned event here, or at the very least, could Celtic have something to say about this Merchant City stuff? Because it just kind of feels like everyone's just kind of, Celtic are taking nothing to do with it.
I mean, surely Celtic and Glasgow City Council could have worked on a joint thing and provided some kind of, location to party, as they say. It's 13 out of the last 14 seasons, Hamish, that Celtic have won the title. It's not something that creeps up on you. And the title's been decided in the last couple of weeks. This has been wrapped up for a long time and should have been in the planning stages for a long time. Yeah, correct. In other cities, they plan for these things, don't they? I know Newcastle won the League Cup. They planned a big party, didn't they? And I know they hadn't won anything in years. I get all that, but it's just down to planning. It's just about getting people to come together. And like you, I feel that Glasgow City Council statement's pretty disingenuous. They are trying to paint something which is a celebration in a negative light. You said before, unfortunate incidents are regrettable. And I don't want to compare Celtic supporters to any other fans and supporters of other clubs, because they can do what they like. But this started out as joyous occasions and then became a kind of, they ended up seeing posting social media of portraying Celtic supporters in a bad light. Why not? Where's the videos of the actual fans celebrating these things and whipping it up and having a great time? Because nobody's interested in that, are they? So I really do think that these fires are stoked up by, inflammatory statements like Glasgow City Council made, which I think it is. Can you not trust the Celtic supporters to go and behave. Granted, as you say, if people are drinking for a long time, there will be isolated incidents of stupidity, right? And as you say, they are regrettable, but they are isolated. But those isolated incidents are the ones that seem to garner the most media attention.
Yeah.
You know, and I just feel that every Celtic supporter who goes to that tomorrow, those celebrations, they want to celebrate the achievements of the team. They're not interested in any other pursuit. And I think if you're coming from that position, that it's an expression of joy, you know. And I think sadly, people in various exalted positions think Celtic supporters and football supporters in general are incapable of expressing themselves in that way without night and incidents taking place. And as I say, I think that's pretty disingenuous, because I think most right-minded people can behave, Hamish, in these things and enjoy it for what it is, a party.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I've been a few years, and I think the vast majority of people are going, and I've not actually encountered any real issues. Sure, there's a lot of litter. To be fair, I remember coming back the next day once, literally 10 hours after the party, and all the litter was gone. So there's clearly something in place to deal with that. It's not as if Glasgow's lying in. It's a wreck for weeks to come after the event. I think, I saw a few of the comments coming up there and people talking about Glasgow Green. It's just an obvious thing for me. And again, there must be a reason that this hasn't happened. And stuff I saw earlier, Celtic potentially not wanting to be officially connected to or associated to something that may have, negative consequences or whatever with some of the trouble. But my argument would be, if you arrange something officially, and for example, you have a huge area at something like Glasgow Green. I don't know what the booking system's like with that, but take Transmit, for example. It wouldn't have to be that size, but you've got a huge area there. You get fans in, you have a stage with live music, Liam McGrandle, someone like that. You've got the sun beating down. People can buy alcohol on tap rather than bringing their own drinks. I think that's part of the problem, to be honest. If you're selling alcohol legally, I guess it's more better regulated and stuff like that. You could have food on the go. Celtic could even have pop-up shops selling merch, and we know they like to do that. The club could make a hell of a lot of money from this. I genuinely don't think there would be nearly as much trouble. A lot of the trouble for me has probably been related to people drinking an excessive amount, which you would, because it's not a case of, you go up for a drink and you're drinking a pint at the time. A lot of people are drinking huge amounts of alcohol, and as I say, it's not really been regulated at all. So I just think my main point here is I think this should be a really positive story, and I still think it is, but I just hope it doesn't become negative, even more negative over time. Celtic need to get something in place here. I think, a huge Celtic party, go all in, officially sanctioned by the club, have all of the things I'm talking about, and let everyone party without these potential negative headlines coming from things.
I think everybody would love to see that, wouldn't it? And I think the headline on our broadcast says it all. It's just that lack of official organisation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's get the club involved and celebrate everything that's good about Celtic. That's what tomorrow's all about. Celebrating everything that's good about your football club and doing it responsibly. When there's gatherings like that, there are people going to act irresponsibly. And I've always felt that in these situations, there is an element of self-policing about the Celtic supporters. I've seen it in action myself. Some even carry, as you say, black bags and say, right, tidy up.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
Kind of,
I've seen that myself, yeah.
Well, that happens, so I'm not saying everybody does it, but I think there's an element of common sense about the Celtic supporters in these situations too, because I've witnessed it myself. So, I just think tomorrow's supposed to be a celebration of a long, hard season where you've been triumphant again. Everything that's wonderful about your football club. Hopefully, a week later, you're celebrating a domestic treble. But the negativity that springs from it. Just it's off-putting to some people as well, and that will put people off from actually turning up and celebrating the success of their football club. But I think if Celtic were to get involved and it was an official day out and it was organised properly, I think that could become a wonderful event, Hamish.
Agree. I know there might be difficulties with a certain timing. Like, for example, last year we won the league 3 days before Trophy Day. So it'd be difficult to organise all that in 3 days. But I think there's stuff the club can do. Anyway, it's still going to be amazing tomorrow. People are going to enjoy themselves, whether it's Celtic Park, Merchant City, around the world. Can't wait for it. Tony, I hope you have a cracking day. I hope everyone else has a cracking day, because you know what? We work all season, 37 games played so far, the 38th tomorrow. We get to see Celtic lifting the trophy that matters every season, the league title. And just enjoy it tomorrow, everyone. Just have a big smile on your face all afternoon watching, hopefully, the team bang in a few goals, and then Callum McGregor and lifting the trophy, and Kasper Schmeichel getting his first league title, and Arnie Engels, and all of these guys. Have a cracker, Tony.
Yes, thank you very much. And we'll be like you, we'll be basking in sunshine for a change. So it might be glorious tomorrow and for the next few days. So we'll be living it up, as they say, Hamish. So yeah, indeed, they have to be enjoyed, because it's there is no other way to do it. But yeah, just and if everybody who is going along to these parties and stuff, just you just urge them to behave responsibly, and make it about the club, Celtic, and a celebration. That's all you ask. That's all you can offer.
Okay, plenty more to come on the channel, plenty more to come on the website as well. I will be having the rest of the weekend off from this. I will return on Monday to look back on things. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, everyone. Catch you soon.